What does that mean? We're going to kick the hell out of this licensing section, people. All right, look, real quick, I think this is the easiest section of the exam. Why? Because the state of Florida is going to ask you probably 4 or 5 questions on this next 10 pages that I'm about to blow through. Why am I going to blow through it? Because you literally have to engage in the activity. I'm not just going to give you definitions. I'm going to go over and give you a nice little overview of what you need to know. And then we're going to jump right into the CFO website. We're going to go over to the Division of Insurance Agents and Agencies, and we're going to jump into licensing. All those secondary questions, you know, the I frequently asked questions, all of them are answered on the CFO website. Guys, I don't know how to drum this in anymore, but this course might as well be called Informed Consumer 101, because everything that I'm going to explain to you that you're going to be tested on, it appears in the CFO website. If you're taking your health insurance class or life insurance. Under life insurance, there's a whole section over there, the On Guard for Seniors. We talk all about it. They go over long-term care. They go over annuities, all the questions that consumers ask. What do you think that we're teaching you? That's what you're going to be tested on. You're tested on the consumer's frequently asked questions. So the purpose of licensing, it's nothing more than a consumer protection. This right here, the insurance pre-licensing course, this is step 1. This part, this is a consumer protection, because do you really want an insurance agent who can't explain simple concepts? Absolutely not. That would be a nightmare. Talk about losing confidence in the system, right? We want an agent that's capable of identifying what it is we're afraid of, identifying which policy is sustainable, which means which policy can we afford. We want somebody who understands why we're implementing insurance. That's the reason for pre-licensing. Here, we have 40 hours of class. In this class, we do nothing but cover consumer basics, right? Great. You test through it, you get a 70 or better, boom, you move on. You get to the state exam. You register for the state exam, you pass with a 70 or better, boom, you move on, you're licensed. But that doesn't even qualify you to get started working yet, right? Why? Because the test isn't the only hurdle you have to jump over. We also have to jump over background checks, guys. The reason for the background check is because you don't want a smart criminal mastermind taking your personal identifying information, do you? No, we want to make sure that these people are not only capable of helping you understand the policy, but also capable of delivering your information to the insurer without stuffing it in their pocket and going online and buying something off of Amazon. We need reputable people. We need somebody you can trust. Fiduciary. Remember that word. It's going to keep on coming, keep on coming. Before I go ahead and jump into ethics, because that's where the fiduciary part comes in, let's just make sure, as long as you don't have a criminal background, you have nothing to worry about. If you do have a criminal background, you know, we're not really testing it, so I'm not going to break it down for you. But on the My Florida CFO website, I am going to show where you can go ahead. I'm going to click on it, and we're going to identify the process for you too, all right? Because felons are people too. They just might not be people with insurance licenses, guys. All right, so what type of license can you get with this class? Okay, so obviously there's a lot of different types of insurance. Well, when you sign up for, let's just say, your health insurance class or your life and annuities class, or you're taking the health, life, and regardless of what the combination is, that qualifies you as an independent agent. That's what you're applying to be, okay? Now, if you have goals and aspirations of having an insurance agency, that just means that you're bringing in more agents like you, right? It doesn't require you to have an extra license. I believe in real estate, if you want to be an agent, it's one license. If you want to be a broker, it's another license. In insurance, it doesn't work like that. The last type of entity you can be is what we call an unaffiliated agent. An unaffiliated agent doesn't get appointed, and that's a solid key word because I didn't talk about appointments, and I'm actually going to jump over the appointment section. But an unaffiliated agent isn't working with an insurer, it's working with clients, okay? They're an independent consultant. They can get paid by the client, but they cannot accept a commission from an insurer. So remember that an unaffiliated agent doesn't need an insurer appointment, still has an insurance agent license, but they're working for somebody. They're working probably on behalf of a large employer group or something along those lines. So with a regular insurance license, you can either be an agent, you can open up an agency, or you could be an independent consultant, which is what we call an unaffiliated agent. Now, and if you're following along in the Kaplan, which you should, because that book by the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors that they're so happy, so proud of, you know, I'm not that crazy about it, right? That's why I'm going to jump over to the website. But regardless, if you are following along, that was on page 411 and 412. So we went through purpose. We went through types of entities you can be with this type of license. What can you be? You can be an agent, an agency, or an unaffiliated agent. Now let's talk about requirements, all right? We touched on the fact that you can't be a felon, all right? We don't want, you know, we don't want very clever crooks. Okay, but what in general, what's required? Well, we have the pre-licensing. That's 40 hours. And where is that? Right here in the book. If you're following along, let's see here. I jumped around, so you got to forgive me because here it is. We're going a little bit live, but I got me on the screen and I got my little cliff notes right here. But whatever. David, cut that whole little segment out, all right? So anyway, guys, in reference to, don't do it now, I'm still going. I'm in the heat of the moment. I worry, man, because sometimes this millennial be like, oh, bam, what are you doing? No, stop. All right. Anyway, from the requirements, where are we at? We're at 26.4. That's on page 415. Education. You have either 40 or 60 hours of pre-licensing that you have to do. If you're going for one category of insurance like health, or one category of or life with annuities, which just falls under a 214, you only have to take 40 hours of pre-licensing. If you're combining those and getting a 215 and you have health, life, and annuities, that's a 60-hour course. In reference to your attendance requirements on these, you have a couple of different ways you can attend. Like this you get live instructors matter, guys. Come on. Live instructor. We hit first. We hit hard. There's none of this wandering through, you know, correspondence. But correspondence is an option for you, okay? So you can read 40 hours of content, or we can work through 40 hours of content. But regardless, you are doing 40 hours of content, okay? It's only after that's done that you get to take the test, right? So the next step would be that application. So let's go ahead and jump over to, you see this up here? I just want to point out, my Florida, that's the type of geek I am, that my computer actually identifies that the first place I go isn't something good. It's not like you got Pornhub on there or something fun. No, you got Department of Financial Services. And then what else do I got on here? I think I got Clash of Clans. Yeah. All right, so look, we're over on at the DFS. And I'm going to click over to Divisions and Offices, Insurance Agent, Agency Services, Licensing, right there at the top, right? My profile information and tutorials, we're going to get to there, but we're going to jump over that. And I just want you to go over here, licenses and their qualifications, okay? So second one down, I keep on going with health just because the book, guys, health, life, and annuities, okay? I'm not favoring one class or the other. It's just in order. My conditioning has been conditioned, all right? So we're going to go down to this second section right here and just click on that 240. Health insurance, common uses of a license. This is coming directly out of where the Kaplan has it in chapter 26, which, by the way, why is this in chapter 26? How is this not part of chapter 1? You want to become an agent, can you please tell me what that entails? But that's just me. Anywho, common uses of a license. A health agent is defined as any person appointed by an agent or insurer to solicit applications, so sell policies. I guess I have to go to this appointment thing, don't I? All right, so after you get licensed, because you've already completed your pre-licensing, you've already taken your state exam, you've already paid your application, you submitted your application, you paid your fees, right? Now, what is this appointment? Well, you're licensed. But if I don't connect with an insurer, it's not like I can go ahead, hey, I'm licensed, hey, you should buy Aflac. Who the hell is Aflac, right? Just because I'm licensed doesn't make me knowledgeable in any specific policy or any specific policy type. And that's where the appointment comes in, because now that I'm licensed, all that really did is earn me the right to approach an insurer and become appointed, become affiliated with them, put that ring on my finger, all right? Because what happens under the appointment, let's just say we're talking about Humana. They're saying, Jason, no problem. You jump through all the licensing hurdles. It appears that you're trustworthy, because when you're talking to the insurer, just because you're licensed and just because you jump through all those hoops, the insurer does not have to appoint you. They may not like you. You may come across as not a right fit because of, and I'm not saying this because it can't be in a discriminatory manner, but it would have to be in a personal manner. It would have to be if you perhaps expressed hard closing tactics, or you're working with seniors and you're in your interview, you're like, no, they'll just do this. It's an interview process, guys. Nothing in this business is assumed, okay? So in this appointment process, what the insurer is saying is that they believe you're trustworthy. You complied with state requirements. They believe you're trustworthy. So we're going to allow you to sell our products. Only then are you technically an insurance agent, because until you align with an insurer, you are just a person who complied with the education and background requirements to be an agent. That's very important. So the main components here of this whole licensing process, if we stretch it out beyond just the state exam, is you have pre-licensing, you have the state exam, you have the pre-licensing exam, you have your state exam, you have your application fees, background checks, and then you have your appointment. So in this whole process with the appointments, how that works is your appointment doesn't last forever. It actually lasts for 2 years, okay? 24 months. Another thing I like about this class, they really don't throw around many time frames in here, okay? If ever the Department of Financial Services asks you a question, answer it. If it's an official investigation, you have 30 days, right? If it's just customer service, you have 20 days. When it comes to your CE, you have 24 months. Every compliance period is 24 months. What do we have here? Every appointment period is 24 months. See how they're not trying to get clever with you guys? They're keeping everything pretty uniform, right? Now, one thing that you do have to know about your appointment is that not only are you not an agent if you don't have an appointment, but if you fail to get an appointment in a 4-year period, which is 2 compliance periods, right? 2 CE compliance periods. That's gonna mean something to you in a moment when I draw this connection, because if I was to get licensed today, and 4 years from today, I do not align myself with an insurer, my license is terminated. I can't get an appointment unless I go back through pre-licensing and pass my test and pay all of my fees. So this appointment is very important, and all I really need you to remember is that it's how you align yourself with your insurer. That alignment is valid for 24 months. Now, In that time period, if you were to do something wrong and it was a violation, the DFS can suspend you. Okay? Also during that time period, maybe the insurer decides that you're not a good fit anymore. They can terminate your appointment. Now, with that termination, it's not like they're like, you're out of here, you're fired, go. They got to give you notice, man. You got to get 60 days. And after they terminate that appointment, 30 days after the termination, they're required to let the DFS know why you were terminated. Because if it was with cause, they want to know. It might not have been a punishable infraction from a criminal standpoint, but was it an issue involving trustworthiness? Because that can terminate an appointment as well. And that, my friends, can also, without being convicted, terminate your license. So, let's see. Now, we've talked about the purpose. We talked about the types. We talked about requirements when it came to your education and your application and your background check and the exams. What if you went to another school and you failed the state exam? Like, right? You didn't come to Cobra Kai and fail the exam, guys. All right? So let's just say you went over there, and I'm not going to say any names because this could be defamation. You know, you call somebody else's baby ugly, and nobody really wants that. This is marketing. Like, I'm over here highlighting things. I got my highlighter pants on, you know? Like, they can't touch this. Anyway, I don't know where I go with this, man. So, you know, it's funny because I went somewhere with it, and I don't remember where the hell I was going with it, but you remember where I was going with it?
No.
I don't know. We're on the board. We did a recap. All right, we did retakes, right? Because you can't touch this, right? I got you. So, if you went with that other school and you failed, I'd stress out a little bit, but you have a couple of more tries, and you actually have 5 tries within a 12-month period, okay? That time frame, that's relevant again, because if you pass, your passing grade is only good for 12 months also, okay? So if you fail, you have 5 tries within a 12-month period. If you pass, you now get to move on and get your license, but if you don't finish the application process and pay those fees, then your test doesn't mean anything and it fades away to nothing, all right, guys? So, now let's talk about how you maintain a license, okay? Because this is really easy because I keep on slipping up, and every time I want to say pre-licensing, I say continuing education, right? So, we're going through laws and ethics right now, right? This right here, technically, this is insurance law. This is the insurance code. You know, if you chimed into any of my other segments that talked about the insurance code in this book over here by that National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors, my trauma, right? Because they threw in that, and this is part of the insurance code. What is the insurance code? All the laws that involve the business of insurance, okay? So, what they've done is not only do you jump through the first hurdle for licensing, but once you're licensed, the next hurdle is you making sure that you're trustworthy and an insurer wants to work with you, right? That's kind of like a check and a balance, isn't it? Consumer protections, it's not just the state vetting you, it's the state and the insurer vetting you, right? So the next step is we talked about compliance periods. How long did your insurer appointment last? 24 months. How long is a compliance period? 24 months. What does that mean? It means that once I'm licensed, the moment I step out of class, the clock is ticking. Because 24 months from that moment, I need to make sure, and by the way, that moment is the last day of my birth month. So I'm born in December. That means my compliance date is December 31st, okay? Every 2 years by December 31st, I have to do at least 5 hours of continuing education focused on nothing more than this nonsense right here. all the basics. Who's the CFO? What's the DFS? Who's the OIR? What does the Office of Financial Regulations regulate? For the love of God, it's banks, duh. Who do the Office of Insurance Regulations regulate? Insurance companies, duh, right? Well, every single 2 years, we have to have 5 hours of this class recapped. I mean, I learned about all this stuff again. Actually, the truth is that we're going over this right now on the live webinar. But we have people logged in here for health insurance and life and annuities. This right here, this covers all pre-licensing. Oh, did you not know we're using this segment for continuing education also, because you can't get away from state regulatory entities. So with this CE, remember that everybody has to do 5 hours, but total new agents have to do 24 hours of continuing education. 24. I'm glad that I did that on the other camera. So I went 20 and I tried to be clever and go 4. But it didn't work because I put 5 fingers up over there. So whatever. So 24. All right. So if you're a new agent, 24 hours of continuing education. I don't care that you just came out of this class. You're gonna study law and ethics for 5 hours every compliance period. Now, like I said, if you're new and you have that 24 hours, that means you have 19 hours left. That second portion of your CE, those are what we call, well, the first one was required. Second one is elective, right? The elective means you can pretty much study whatever you want about the business of insurance as long as the class is authorized, right? So you don't have to study the CFO. You don't have to study all that boring stuff again. Not that I'm saying this is boring. I do a great job making this not boring, but come on. Come on. Mr. Patronus, you're killing me. Anyway, so with the electives, what they let us do is we could talk about practices. We could talk about pretty much the only thing I can't talk about is I can't be all Tony Robbins, rah, 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 you can do it, because you might not be able to do it, and I'm not allowed to lie to you, okay? So I don't know what that is, but the state won't let me rah, rah you up. They're just going to help me deliver resources to you. So what did we do? Our continuing education classes have to deal with things like managethestorm.com, ... That's where we go over resources where you, as an insurance agent, I don't care if you're health or life, okay? If a storm comes through, life insurances have living benefits. That's what that AFLAC thing is, right? If you were to fall and blah, 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 you got hurt. Disability income, come on, storms, it's always storm season in Florida and accidents always happen. That's the type of thing that our CEs cover. Our CEs cover ways of using CFO resources, like we talk about On Guard for seniors. Well, I know I told you that some of our CEs don't just go into law and ethics and I'm right back into the CFO website, but did you forget that when I started this segment, we told you that this class was nothing more than how to be an informed consumer? Okay, so I go back into a lot of these resources and show you throughout CE why the CFO is highlighting these things and how you can use CFO resources to build credibility with your clients. See, it's the transparency thing here. From a competent standpoint, if you were my client, how would you feel if tomorrow we have an appointment and to set the stage for a annuities conversation, I send you the state resources on annuities so that way you know what questions to ask. Guys, proper process. That's what licensing is. Okay? That continuing education, here it is. I'm showing you how to use resources. I might be talking about marketplace practices and the other 19 hours of electives, but regardless, it's just information designed to help you be a better agent. Now, some people are just out there reciting little statutes. I personally like to think the stories we tell should be relevant to the business of insurance and something that maybe you could go forward and share. My story as Sue's story, guys. So now I talked about if you just got licensed, but what if you're a veteran? I'm no rookie, all right? Don't even insinuate I'm a rookie. I'm not doing 24 hours of continuing education. I get a 4-hour discount. 4 hours. But I still have to do 5 hours of CE on nothing more than law and ethics. Now, side note, do you know why that really sucks? Is because I know you're already like, damn, Jay, 5 hours of law and ethics. No, guys, you're pre-licensing, right? You got 20 hours of law and ethics, all right? But me, not only do I teach the class for 2 different schools, not only am I out here just spitting out hours of content about the 5-hour law and ethics, month after month. It's like I'm stuck in a time loop, like with that Doctor Strange movie when he wanted to torture that big entity and he just kept on making him kill him over and over again. That's what's happened to me. I'm dying in his 5-hour law and ethics class slowly. But anyway, I have to do CE with another school. So if you think that a class is boring when you didn't know the information, imagine if you knew the information, went out of your way to make it interesting, and then had to go do it with somebody else. But luckily I know the answers and I skip right to the end. Bam! So enough of my trauma. So now you know how to maintain a license. So if you're a rookie, you have 24 hours of continuing education. If you're a veteran, you got 20 hours of continuing education. I gave you a 4-hour discount. Both of us, the rookie and the veteran, both have to do 5 hours of law and ethics regardless, okay? If you do 20 hours of electives and you don't do your 5-hour law and ethics, you didn't do your CE, you're out of compliance, all right? Electives, those are the things that interest you. You might want to geek it out and learn about tax advantages, blah, blah, blah. Yo, that's on you, okay? That's on you. I'm not going to say anything. I personally like to keep my knowledge on tax advantages down to a minimum, okay? Now, outside of this CE, but you get it, right? CE is nothing more than pre-licensing. Truth is that the 5-hour law and ethics class, us agents are blowing through it in 5 hours, but it's pretty much me talking about it slowly for 20 with you. Anyway, now, responding to the Department of Financial Services, that you will find on page 119. I absolutely hate this section of the book. Talk about a lack of attention to detail, okay? So if I say you're responding to the Department of Financial Services, you know, my butt cheeks pucker up like, oh, like Department of Financial Services, somebody might get spanked, right? So here, we come into licensing, and you're going to have to bear with me while we find this 419. All right. We might edit, but this is real time, baby. See my millennials tell me, Doug, you've been looking for like 6 seconds. I'm bored. This is what I go through, right? This is what I go through. Anyway, blah, blah. All right, so we're retaking the examination, maintaining a license, communicating with the department. This is on page 219 on chapter 26.652, communicating with the department. Insurance companies and producers by statute have 20 days to respond to the department once notified of a consumer complaint. That is a very poorly written sentence because you do have 20 days to respond to a consumer complaint. What it fails to tell you is that there's 2 types of notices you're going to get from the Department of Financial Services. The first type is just that. Karen complained. We already know Karen complains about a ton of things, right? So Karen's complaint might not mean anything. I mean, it means something from the standpoint that Karen's a person too. But at that point, what's happening is she called the state. It goes to the Department of Financial Services, goes to the Division of Consumer Service, and she says, oh, Jason didn't tell me this. The department goes, he didn't. Well, let me go ahead and make a note of that. And I'm going to reach out to Jason. She said, good. Because when I called him, he wasn't helpful. So now I'm over here I check my email. Oh, I'm not on airplane no more. Where I check my email and I get a notice from the Division of Consumer Services. And the Division of Consumer Services is basically saying, Jason, Karen said you didn't do this. Guys, just because Karen said I didn't do that doesn't mean I'm in trouble. It means I just have to respond to what she said. I just can't ignore her. So step one of any kind of communication with the department is understand that they're just asking you questions. They're not accusing you when you come through, right? Insurance is complicated. People do forget. People do get confused. The goal of the Department of Financial Services is to maintain consumer confidence. That means that they just put in checks and balances. So that 20 days, it's not that you're being investigated, is that when that report comes in, the Department of Financial Services wants this entire matter resolved in 30 days. So when they reach out to you, me, an insurer, or an agency, they expect a response back quick, because if we can respond to them in under 20 days, they can respond to Karen in under 30 days. Does that make sense? Now, the one thing that I want you to understand is that not everything is a request for information. Some things are formal finger pointing. Whenever the Department of Financial Services sends you something directly, like let's just say it's an audit, they need a piece of paper from one of your, a part of an application. You have 30 days to respond. That might be part of another investigation, but if they're asking you for records, you have 30 days. If they're asking you when it comes down to, let's just say it's not something big. If you're convicted of a crime, you have 30 days to notify the Department of Financial Services. Somebody accused you of a crime. We tell a story later on in this later on in this class, about one of our instructors who was accused of bank fraud from an identity thief. Can you imagine? Talk about puckering up when you have to go talk to the Department of Financial Services and say TD Bank accused you of bank fraud. Regardless, when that instance happened, we notified the Department of Financial Services that day, but it's because we had the proper checks and balances in place. What were those? Shameless plug! Yo, David, pop in the legal shield right here like this, like I'm leaning on it. Boom. Legal shield. Is that better? Like this? Does that look good?
Perfect.
Yeah, see? Hold on. Can you put both on there? Can you put like one logo here and one logo here? Like this? Oh, what? These are my boys right here. My boys. Talk about them later in the class. But record keeping, guys. When you're communicating with the Department of Financial Services, remember, if it's customer service, it's 20 days. Everything else, you have 30 days. That doesn't mean procrastinate. You got to think about it, man. When you ask your kid for something, your kid goes and runs around and procrastinates. You know they didn't do it, or they're guilty, right? Same thing here. Can you just get the department what they need? Because in another part of the class, we talk about the Patriot Act and things along those lines, where people may use insurance products to launder money. This might not have anything to do with you. They might be trying to find a money trail from somebody else who went through legal means like you to go ahead and move money around. All right? So when they ask you for something, just please give it to the department. Remember, all department communication, let's get rid of this 20 days, is 30 days. Okay? If they request for information, 30 days. You move your address, 30 days. You change your phone number and you switch from T-Mobile to Verizon, you better tell them in 30 days. If not, you're subject to fines. I closed my book, but I believe it's $250. Don't quote me on that because we're not on the topic of fines, right? So let's see. So that's in responding to the DFS, 30 days, unless it's just a customer service issue. Then it's 20 days. That record keeping, my friends, that's the last part of this whole entire section right there, is that record keeping. And really they're talking about record keeping, making sure they know how to get in touch with you. And it does make sense, right? Because we talked about when you got your appointment, how appointments are for 24 months. But what if the insurer wanted to cancel your appointment? You got 60 days there. If they can't get in touch with you, how do you address that issue? So the information that you're putting with the Department of Financial Services is super important. And if it's not up to date, you have a responsibility to the marketplace. If it's not up to date, you can be fined. So let's go back here. And to obtain your license, what do you need, guys? You just got to be 18 years old. You got to be a resident of Florida. You got to be a United States citizen or a legal alien who possesses work authorization from immigration. You want more information? It says click there. Where are we? Department of Financial Services, guys. So, and you can't have a resident license in another state. What that means is that if you're a licensed agent in California and you move here, you can move your license if it's reciprocal, if they acknowledge us, which California does. Go figure, right? That's a completely different planet. I don't even know how they're part of the United States. But they honor our license, so we honor theirs. That word is reciprocal, okay? Now, the reason that you can't be a resident license in another state, you could be a non-resident license agent in Florida, but if you live in Florida, then that status has to be that you are a licensed resident agent in Florida. And the other states that you're licensed in are non-resident, okay? Now, step 2, prerequisites. We went over them, guys. 40 hours of pre-licensing for health, 40 hours for life and annuity, 60 hours for health, life, and annuities. To apply, let's go over here to, we are over there. To go ahead and apply, let's zoom this in. Click here to apply. What's going to happen is it's going to bring you over to the My Florida DFS profile, all right? Now, in case you're wondering, bam. Here, go to a create account. Select your account type. You are an individual. Now you see where we're at now? Guys, what I want you to do is I want you to create your account with the Department of Financial Services, because we're now going to transition and we're going to talk about the fees, the paperwork, how to submit, where we take the test. We're going to talk about specifics relevant to you, so that way we can get all of this paperwork done while you're enrolled in the class. We can get you set up for your state exam while you're still taking the class, because I want you to start making money as soon as possible. I hope that this pre-licensing overview on what your requirements are helpful. Some of you guys are taking this on, you're tapping into this on the iTest drive. Great. If you have any questions, you need any help, you need financial assistance, go ahead and email the school at theinsuranceSchool.com. When we get back, we're going to jump into the website and we're going to dive all into this myfloridacfo.com. Deuces. Wasn't that bad, right?
Yeah. There's